Hi guys, welcome back to Willow Studios. Today I'm going to be doing a video as to why you shouldn't use these on your tabletop glue ups. So here I have two bits of timber that I want to join together, like so, and I'm going to domino these together initially, and then I'm going to show you and tell you as to why you shouldn't do it like this. First off, start by always just strike a couple of lines by pencil. You don't have to mark out table joint lines, you can literally strike them across. Okay, so now I've got the two bits of tulip wood dominoed, which effectively would be your tabletop boards. Now, there's two primary reasons I don't domino tabletops, and I see loads of people, pretty much the majority of people, dominoing their tabletops together. Firstly is grain direction. So the grain of this piece of tulip wood here goes that way. The domino, the grain obviously goes that way, like so. When the timber shrinks due to seasonal movement, and the timber will shrink or expand, no timber is completely stable throughout the year, no matter where you are. When this is glued in there, this will hold the joint from shrinking together because this is glued in, and because of that, as the boards shrink, the joint will pop. So secondly, even if you don't glue the dominoes in, as the table shrinks, the domino mortise will press up against the end of the domino and it will pop the joint again. For those of you that say, well, if I haven't got dominoes in, how am I going to align the joint? What I say is biscuits. Now, biscuits, the grain is a lot more in line with the grain of the actual timber, so you've got that in your favour. Also, I never put glue in the biscuits. I always leave them dry so they can move around when the timber moves. With the biscuits, I never rely on the biscuits for strength. The biscuits are just there to align the timber when I glue the table up. And with biscuits, there is a tiny bit of movement, but there's enough movement that you can pull it level as well. I shall demonstrate what I do. As you can see, the biscuits have held it dead flat. Another thing with the biscuits is, over dominoes, is you've actually got a lot of play back and forth in the joints, so when you actually biscuit them up, you don't have to be too accurate with the biscuiter either, which is another positive. So a reason people put dominoes in tabletop joints as well, they say it's for added strength. Now, I can understand, yes, you think that that's going to add strength, but if done correctly, a long grain joint in timber is incredibly strong, and you really don't need dominoes to strengthen it. So the first thing for a really strong long grain joint without dominoes is the glue you're using. Now, a lot of people use PVA to glue up tabletops or large timber panels, and I would steer clear of PVA. Here we use a two-part resin glue, and it's a lot harder than PVA. So PVA, when it dries, it has that sort of rubberiness to it, and that will remain in the glue joint, whereas the resin glue goes off a lot harder and stops any sort of creep and movement in the joint. The second point is your edge joint. If your edge joint isn't up to scratch, and say it was slightly out at the ends, and you glue it up and you cramp it up and it pulls tight, over time, if the wood's trying to move, it will try and revert back to the shape it was planed into. So if your joints aren't good enough, the likelihood is your table could fail there. If you're using the correct glue and your joints are up to scratch,
you really won't have any problems with a long grain joint without a domino in it.
I know there's going to be some people that don't believe that dominoes hold the joint apart, but I've got some evidence. So come with me and I shall show you what I'm talking about. Here is my evidence, and now you might just be thinking, oh, it's an old table and it looks like it's cracked open. But now, if I can try and get this on camera, if we look down in there, there is a dowel in the joint, and this whole table on every joint has popped open. And we didn't make this table, this is an antique table, and the dowels have clearly held off the timber from shrinking and being able to do what it wanted to do, and all the joints have popped. If that doesn't prove my point, I don't know what will. That wraps up today's video. I know it's a bit of a controversial one, but it is a crucial piece of advice for gluing up any large timber panels. I hope you liked today's video. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video. Cheers.